City Homebuyer Program Guidelines Revisions presented by Ben Moody, Development Services Director.
Okay, so I have to put my housing hat on for this one, which gets me out of my wheelhouse for sure. And so I've requested the Regional Housing Authority, and so Becky Flores and Executive Director Gus Becerra is here to help answer any questions when we get into it. And so I'll kind of go through this, but we could definitely get into the weeds at whatever level the council desires. And so what we have is we have a program that's a first-time home buyer program, which is a pretty cool thing. But it's made up of a hodgepodge of funding sources: state Cal Home money with different allotments, CDBG money, and then also federal home money. And so in that, it's a program that basically allows individuals who qualify based on their income level to have a pretty much a real low down payment with a real low interest that's deferred. And then once it goes in to help people buy an approved home, and then if it gets paid off, when it gets paid off, it's a deferred loan at 30 years. And so at some point in time, the house is typically sold, and then the loan is paid off. It's in second position, and then it comes back into the program, and we reissue the loan out to new people. And so what's been relayed to us from RHA, who helps coordinate that on the city's behalf, is that we're struggling with getting the loans out. And so with the inflation in house prices, with the low interest rates that are out there, what we used to think were great deals, 3% down payment and 3% loans, it is not as competitive anymore. And then a lot of the problem is with the price of the loans, there was caps of $75,000, and it wasn't really usable. And so we have the money sitting in the bank earning pretty much zero interest versus maybe, hey, what can we do to help use this money and make it more usable for the program? So with that, RHA's team went through and made some recommendations to us. With the city with it being the city program, we have a home buyer program guidelines, a policy that basically we follow. And so the changes that we're proposing is to no longer restricted to $75,000, and we're going to set it with the amount changes with home updates and cannot exceed first mortgage. So increase maximum loan amount to the current home subsidy limit. So this gives us a little flexibility, so we're not here every year saying, okay, is it 76 now with inflation, or is it going to be 80? And I think with this one, it's a substantial change. It goes up to 200. It depends on your income bracket, but I think if you're a four-person and really low on the income scale, I was looking at the top bracket, it might be the current home subsidy limit there. I have it up in the corner is 276. You might have to be very, very low income in order to make that amount, but that would be the upper limit. And so that would do away with this conflict with the 75,000. We'd reduce the interest rate from 3% to 2%. There was a little discussion on this one, to be honest. Hey, do we go down to 1%? I struggled with this one a little bit just to keep up with inflation and to recirculate back into our program, because we do get payoffs and buyoffs. But what was happening with the money right now, we were getting a lot of, they're getting the rates cheaper than 3%. And so I kind of landed on the 2%. So we were getting a little bit of money, and the inflation wasn't quite as bad. Reduce the down payment from 3 to 1%. Really, we're trying to get money out to low-income individuals, and we're really saying it's deferred for 30 years. So, and it's secured based on the value of the property. And so staff agreed with the reduction with this based on that reasoning, and to propose it to the council. And then specify, there's some stuff about specify health and safety repairs agreed by the seller. I'd have to lean on Becky for that one. And then remove modest housing requirement. That's another one. It was a little, the interpretation of modest housing. There's some stuff talking about it had to be a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And with the limit on the market availability for homes, you can't necessarily find a 2-bedroom, 1-bath anymore that fits all of this criteria for the loans. And so we wanted to just do away with that requirement. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And then we're looking for adopt a resolution approving the revisions to and adopting the City of Yuba City Homebuyer Program guidelines.
Thank you. Can you go back one slide? So if it's no longer restricted to 75K, what is it restricted to? Do we know, or is it just open-ended?
Yeah.
Hi, Becky.
Hi there. Becky Flores with Regional Housing Authority. Thank you, Ben, for that presentation. And to answer your question, Mayor Boomgarden, so the limit of 75,000 right now is low. I will point out that the 3-bedroom subsidy limit of 276,482 includes, in addition to the loan amount to the borrower, the activity delivery fees and any other grants associated. So I don't see a scenario where we'd actually be lending that amount to a borrower. There's also purchase price limits that are in place for the home program and the Cal Home program. For example, the home program restricts the purchase price to $309,000 right now. So there's no way we could lend that much and be below the first mortgage loan amount. We would exceed $309,000 pretty easily. So I did want to make that clarification. So your average loan amount, I've got a home buyer in escrow right now. They qualify for $110,000. This actually fell out because the home did not meet our standards. But you know, if a family qualifies for $110,000 on their own, and you add $75,000, they're looking for a home for $185,000 plus whatever they can put down. There's just really nothing for sale in Yuba City for that price range. If I could get them to another $110,000, so now they're in the 220 ballpark. And again, the city loan can never exceed the first mortgage amount. Remember, the city loan is a second lender in these transactions. They're going to go to a bank, qualify for whatever they can on their own. The city will come in with gap financing, but we can never be more than the first mortgage lender. Now this same family can qualify for something in the low to mid twos. And there's, you know, a little bit more available for them. I'm not going to lie and say there's a lot, because the housing market is very, very tight everywhere in this region right now. But there are some. And, you know, this same family will benefit from just this change in the program guidelines.
Thanks for the information. I guess I was trying to figure out, are we really helping by doing this? Because, you know, house prices here seem to be going through the roof. And so there is the ability to at least place a few folks to take advantage of this program, in your opinion, then?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, we're keeping an eye on the market pretty regularly. When listings do come up, you know, that aren't already pending, we be sure and let our pre-qualified buyers know. So once Regional Housing Authority certifies their income, they have 6 months to buy. And so there's a window there, and we do assist them with that process. And as we see listings come up, we let them know right away. A person on Ben's staff with the building division will come out and inspect and make sure that the unit meets the city standards. You know, and sometimes they don't. A cash buyer could come in, swoop out from under them, and they don't care. They'll buy it as is. Right. But we're doing everything we can, and we feel like these guideline changes will help.
Okay, thank you. On the interest rate, are you able to fluctuate that based upon what's going on in the market? I mean, right now, I believe you're correct, is that, you know, the interest rates are pretty low, but if all of a sudden that changes, do you have to come back to us to change interest rate?
My understanding, there are rules, so we can make it how we want. Right now, it's set as a fixed rate, and so we would have, if we adopted straight at the 2%, we would have to come back to change.
Okay.
Becky, I don't know, please. I don't know what the cap is with HUD or some of the state guidance on that.
Well, the home program actually recommends 0% for many cities and counties, but 2% is not unreasonable. 3% is not competitive anymore, believe it or not.
Right.
And I was explaining earlier, you know, when I wrote this grant for the city, you know, back in 2018, who knew we'd be where we are now? So, you know, 2% I don't think is unreasonable, but you could go 0%.
Okay.
You know, unfortunately, that would require you coming back to the council to make that change.
Okay, that was really my question, are these interest rates always going to have to come back to us, whether they go up or down? And it sounds like yes. Okay.
Yes.
Other questions?
Through the mayor, I wanted to know, Ben, what is the total amount of funds that we have available?
So that's a good question. We were just trying to do the accounting on that beforehand, just because of the multiple funding sources and the loans out there. And so I'm going to give you rough numbers. We have about 120 plus loans that are out in place right now, with about 5 million, 5.1 in the portfolio that's out generating our 3% interest. Right now, we have about 750,000 from different funding sources. I would lean on, between CDBG, home money, between the federal home, between the various state home programs that come together, so about 750,000.
So currently, we have 120 folks out there that we're helping in one way or another, or?
I think what Mr. Moody is referring to is your current loan portfolio, people you've already made loans to.
Right.
That's indicative of what they have already in loans that were made. And in terms of money to make new loans, that 750 is correct. And it's split between the city's Cal Home account. As loans pay off, as Mr. Moody mentioned, that money sits in an account and can be relent. And then you also have some money through the home program that's coming through payoffs. And then we have new grant money through the 18 home grant and then CDBG. So various pots, little bits.
The totals are over about 750,000.
Yes, that's correct.
Of all those, and plus the interest, whatever interest is paid of that.
So there's not much interest on the money in the pot.
Okay. Yeah, because I've heard of the interest in other jurisdictions, like you mentioned, a 0% to help, assist very low-income families with, establishing homes and getting themselves, in that situation. Is there a way to kind of have a varying, percentage, but once you lock it in, it's there, as a person who gets that particular loan? Can we start to say, I'm throwing out a number to you all gentlemen, like 0%, let's not charge that 2%. And hopefully we can get some folks, some loans and help them get homes that are so expensive to buy. I've been waiting for the market to go down personally to buy myself, but yeah.
So the only thing to add to this that went into the thought is that when they get the loan, it's deferred for 30 years. And so that means when you get the loan, technically the person doesn't have to pay that portion of the loan for 30 years. And so where the interest comes in, a lot of times that I've seen come across my desk is where they refinance or they sell it, and then that's paid off with the sale. Not to say that that money wouldn't be recaptured by the seller, but that's where I just wanted to clarify to make sure that I was certain that nobody's paying the monthly bill on these most of the time.
And if I could add, Mr. Moody, that, you're correct in that they don't make a monthly payment, so it's not impacting them on a monthly basis. The city will recoup their principal plus some interest at loan payoff, and it does end up getting used to assist more families. So that's just something to keep in mind, that if you charge 0%, that's just going to be less money coming back to help future families. So that's something also to keep in mind, that even 1 or 2% accrued interest can build up that fund, and then that money gets used later on to help more people.
So we have I'm just trying to get the number of 120 since when? From the beginning?
That's when we just pulled it straight, out of our finance software. And so, I think it goes back to 1986, but a lot of these are 55-year, 30-year loans.
So how many have we done since 2019?
Are you talking about first-time homebuyer loans?
Just loans through this program?
Oh, I just put that figure together for a grant application the other day. I want to say we've done 14, maybe in the last 3.5 years.
That's good. Better than 0, I'm happy to hear.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But we've really seen a drop in the last 2 years.
How do we, so your office handles that for us, so you're able to give that directly to clients? Is that how that works?
Yes, we have an agreement with the city so that we implement the program on the city's behalf. And then everything comes back to the city for approval. We do have a loan committee here at the staff level that Regional Housing Authority will make loan requests to for their consideration, and it does get approved by the loan committee. So we aren't acting independently of the city. The loan is with the city.
Okay, so you're saying a 2% is reasonable?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the council? How about from the public? Any other comments from either Ms. Flores or Mr. Becerra? You're good? Okay. Online?
No public comment.
All right. Get back to the council for action, please.
Through the mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution approving revisions to and adopting the City of Yuba City Homebuyer Program guidelines.
All right, I have a motion by Vice Mayor Shaw, second by Councilperson Kirchner. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, item 11 passes unanimously.